Speaker. This is indeed a timely debate. While our attention is quite rightly focused on the devastating events in Ukraine, an immediate crisis in one part of the world should not prevent us from addressing a long-running injustice elsewhere. As we wrestle with what we can do to defend the people of Ukraine, it would be a dereliction of duty to consign the people of Palestine to the too difficult pile. And as we speak of the need to uphold international law, respect legally recognised frontiers and protect territorial integrity, we should remember that these principles are universal. We cannot pick and choose where to apply them. So while we demand that our adversaries adhere to these principles, we should also be ready to remind our friends that they should do so too. And I speak as someone who sees no contradiction in being a friend to Israel and a friend of Palestine. To do so is to be a friend of humanity and a friend of peace. The treatment of the Palestinians is a stain on the conscience of the world. They have every right to conclude that for decades they have been subjected to a relentless campaign of oppression, subjugation of their human rights and the illegal occupation of their lands. The consequences of this history of injustice are felt day in and day out as the people of Palestine go about their lives. To take just one example, and there are many more, how can it be right that in such a small geographic area a woman giving birth in the occupied territories is 9 times more likely to die than a woman in Israel? For me, the suffering of human beings, families, young children, the old and the sick, should always be at the forefront of our minds. For many of those people, abstract principles like sovereignty and self-determination probably don't mean very much, but that doesn't mean they aren't important. Do I believe that the recognition of the State of Palestine alongside the State of Israel would end their suffering overnight? No, of course not. But is it an essential and overdue step on the road to a peaceful settlement that will start to put these historic injustices right? Yes, it is. By recognising the State of Palestine, we would be offering its people the hope of a better future, one in which they are entitled to the same rights and respects as their neighbours. It may be a symbolic act, but as Professor Yossi Mekelberg of Chatham House states, and as my honourable friend, the member for Caerphilly, has said, the power of symbolism cannot be underestimated. There is overwhelming evidence that international recognition of Palestine would serve the causes of peace, justice and international law. If we believe, as we do, that there must be a negotiated diplomatic settlement to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict which ensures a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable and sovereign Palestinian state, then we should take whatever steps we can to advance that process. Recognition of the State of Palestine would be a powerful demonstration of the right of both Palestinians and Israelis to enjoy security, dignity and human rights.